Time to give you the details on my setup for the QT model Dolphin Delta Wing 50 millimeter EDF jet, 550 millimeter wingspan. All right, so before I give you the details, I wanted to show you some of the things I have in the show notes, the links I have in the show notes. You can see that the Delta Wing is less than $120, $119.99. It's coming from the USA warehouse. It's plug and play or plug and fly. There is a typo in here, though. I want to make you aware of it. All right, so if we go down and we look at this, it shows you that it's plug and play, EPO, made out of EPO foam, 550 millimeter wingspan, the length is 790. The flying weight is 480 grams, although on 3S, you depending on how you set yours up, you could be well below 480 grams. All right, I was below 480 grams, even with my original landing skids I have on mine. So it says the EDF unit is a 50 millimeter, which it is, but it does not have an 11 blade ducted fan. It has a 5 blade ducted fan. I wanted to make you aware of that. It does come with 3 9-gram servos that are pre-installed. I agree with the recommended battery they have here. It says 3S LiPo between 1300 to 2200 milliamp hour. I think any of those will work. Now, the flying it on 3S and 4S with that motor and EDF unit, it seems to be fairly efficient on 3S and 4S. Okay, so all right, so and here's my review of it. As soon as I get mine all tuned, and I'll publish my setup with tips on Tinker's Lab Ground Control RC, which is where we are now. So I think I'm pretty good. I'm set up pretty good now that I wanted to go ahead and give you this information. For those of you who have already purchased this, and I can see that some of you have already purchased because when I published my review video, there were 8 of them available. Now there are only 5. All right, so I can tell you that on 3S, it's got good power. It's pretty docile on 3S. It's very stable. It's very forgiving. It's easy to fly. It's easy to hand launch, and it's easy to land. I think it makes a good beginner EDF jet. If you're willing to upgrade the ESC on it like I did, it's got very good performance on 4S, and I'll be publishing my 4S flights on it very, very soon. All right, so, and it's a really nice looking airframe. I like the color scheme. It's easy to see in the air, which is always a big, huge plus with any RC aircraft. Now, I also have links to the following items in the show notes in case you don't have a 3S LiPo that you can use with this aircraft. And if you're looking to upgrade it, I've got a link to the Hobbywing Skywalker. 40 amp ESC. It has a switching voltage regulator. It's rated for 3S to 4S, and it has a 5 volt 5 amp switching voltage regulator, and this is the version 2. It also has reverse thrust available on it. Okay, the Hobbywing Skywalker, the ESCs have been my go-to ESCs for 2 or 3 years now. I really like them, and this is, if you look at this 40 amp ESC, it's a very inexpensive upgrade on this to make this much more high performance than it is on 3S. I've got 4S flights on mine so far with the stock motor and EDF unit, and so far I have not had any problems at all. All right, so I've got links to these Mars LiPos in here that are 1500 milliamp hour, 120C. They're just slightly heavier than the one that I was using because I think it's 9 grams heavier. Mine, I think, are 125 grams because it's got a higher C rating, which means I think that the chemistry is denser than mine is, so they're a little bit heavier. But like I said, if you don't have to use any landing skids on yours, you're going to be quite a bit lighter than I was on 3S. All right, and then I also have some links to 4S LiPos in here, the Tattoo R line. They're a pretty decent mid-range LiPo. I've got quite a few Tattoo LiPos, 3S and 4S, and they've held up pretty well for me. And then Tattoo Funfly, kind of a entry-level 4S LiPo, I would say, 1300 milliamp hour, which is what I'm flying with right now. I'm flying with the 4S 1300 milliamp hour LiPo. So there'll be links to all those in the show notes, so I wanted to make you aware of that. All right, so now let's go ahead and bring up the PDF file. And so I created this PDF file for all my setups so that I can refer back to them when I need to. Or if I have a similar airframe that I want to use as my template for a setup on a new aircraft, I keep these, and they work out really well. All these links in here, these blue links, they're all clickable. They will take you to the different sites, whether it's our Amazon store, Ground Control RC, our Patreon page, our Facebook page, Tinker's Lab YouTube channel. Okay, and then there's also the playlist in here. So if you want to look at the playlist, there's a video in there for the details and tips video. Click this link here. Here's the playlist that I've produced so far, and I'll continue to add videos to this playlist, including the one that you're watching right now will be part of this playlist. So you can see right here the details and tips. So it'll help you with the assembly and initial setup and stuff for this plane if you're interested in that. All right, so this setup works for me on 3S and 4S. Even if it doesn't match your flying style, it will be a good starting point so that you know you're going to have a successful maiden flight, and that's always important, right? I mean, I hate it when things go bad right off the bat. All right, so my control linkage setup, my Elevon control horns, because it's aileron and elevator mix. So you have Elevon control surfaces and Elevon control horns. So I'm in the outermost hole, and there's 3-hole control horns for the Elevons. I had to mess around with my linkage to get it set up to where I wanted it, the kind of authority I wanted. I had too much authority on the ailerons, on the roll rate. The roll rate was really fast, but I didn't have the amount of authority that I wanted on the elevator, I didn't have any elevator in reserve, so I messed around with the linkage until I got it set up and handling the way I wanted it to. So on the Elevon servo arms, I've got it in the second outermost hole, okay, and that's a 5-hole servo arms. On the rudder control horn, I've got it in the outermost hole, 3-hole control horn, and on the rudder servo arm, I've got it in the outermost hole, and that's a 4-hole servo arm because I've clipped off the last part of the arm on the servo. Rudder servo. So there's just 4 holes there. All right. So on my radio setup, the deflection is measured opposite the control horns in manual mode. And I also found that I need about 3 millimeters of positive reflex on the Elevons. And what that means is the top control surface of the Elevons are 3 millimeters higher than the surface of the trailing edge of the wing. So it's 3 millimeters of basically positive elevator. That's the way I have mine set up when my sticks are in a neutral position. You need a little bit of positive reflex on the Elevons for it to fly nice and straight and level at cruising speed. Otherwise, it will drop the nose a little bit. It'll descend ever so slightly. So that's what I found. As I stated, my aileron control is way too good. I had a much faster roll rate than I'm comfortable with, so I had to back off my dual rate on my ailerons down to 65% with 70% expo. That gives me 13 millimeters of movement up and down on the ailerons, which believe me is plenty. And on the elevator, I have 100% dual rate, 60% expo, and I've got 18 millimeters of movement up and 18 millimeters of movement down. When I first started, I had 13 millimeters on both the ailerons and the elevator, so that this gives me 5 millimeters more movement on the elevator. So it gives me, not only do I have good control authority on the elevator now, it actually gives me a little bit in reserve just in case I misjudge a loop or something and need to avoid terra firma, okay? On the rudder, I've got 100% dual rate, 25% expo, and 18 millimeters left and 18 millimeters right. The specified CG is right on the mark. It states it's 350 millimeters to 360 millimeters from the tip of the nose of that magnetic nose cone. So all the way from the very tip of the nose back, 350 to 360 millimeters. So when I first set mine up in fluid, I split the difference and set my CG up at 355 millimeters. What I found was that it seemed to struggle sometimes in the pitch axis and rotating in the pitch axis at 355 millimeters. So I went ahead and moved my CG back to 360 millimeters. I've got a neutral balance on it. and it seems to pivot much easier now in the pitch axis, and it seems to be easier to raise the nose when I'm coming in for a landing to flare, and it seems just as stable at 360 millimeters back as it was 355 millimeters back. So that's the way I'm flying mine, and I like this setup. My launch throttle is 100%. I just give it a slightly upward angle with a moderate chuck. It takes right off, doesn't lose any altitude on 4S. On 3S, it'll lose just a little bit of altitude until it picks up speed, as you'll see in the flight videos on my launches on with a 3S LiPo. All right, so that is currently my setup. As time goes on, I will probably tweak it here and there just a little bit once I get more time on the airframe, and if it's anything significant, I'll repost my setup file for that. But all this information I'm giving you right now is definitely going to give you a successful maiden flight, and you'll have plenty of control authority while keeping the aircraft nice and smooth on the controls. Okay, all right, so that's a wrap on this episode. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time in the Tinker's Lab.